Hello, everybody. My name is Bruce Montgomery, and this is my colleague, Tracy Priest.
Hello, everybody.
Thanks for joining us here on the latest episode of The Road to Retail. On our podcast, Tracy and I hope to offer insights and ideas for how emerging small and challenger CPG brands can establish and grow their business.
Bruce and I have each been working in CPG commercial operations for over 30 years, working on brands of all sizes. On our show, we bring on guests such as brand founders and leaders, investors, as well as all kinds of suppliers that are subject matter experts on growing brands to share their unique insights with you.
To keep up with the show, please follow the Road to Retail podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or YouTube. Leave us a review and consider sharing the show with a friend or colleague that may benefit from the content. Check out our website at www.road2retail.com and follow The Road to Retail on LinkedIn. Let's roll into today's episode. Big Chalk's Emerging Brands New Item Launch and Growth Toolkit transforms retail pitches into successful distribution outcomes. Instead of relying on a founder's story alone, brands gain consumer-validated proof across product concept, packaging, pricing, and marketing plans. Powered by advanced analytics and real-world benchmarks, it converts big ideas into retail-ready selling stories, fast and in a budget-friendly way. In just weeks, emerging brands gain the insights and credibility needed to stand out, lower buyer risk, and drive shelf success. Ready to replace hope with proof? Email emergingbrandswin@bigchalk.co and start building the story retailers can't ignore. This episode is sponsored by RangeMe and ECRM, your go-to sources for exposure and access to retail, food service, and pharmacy buyers. RangeMe's innovative platform showcases your brand 24/7, 365, and connects you with buyers at the exact time they're evaluating products in your category. ECRM sessions provide in-person buyer engagement with private, pre-scheduled meetings, tons of networking, and white glove support from a dedicated client success manager. Together, RangeMe and ECRM are the perfect one-two punch for scaling your distribution. Learn more at ecrm.marketgate.com and rangeme.com. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the latest episode of The Road to Retail. Thanks for joining us here today. There's my good friend, Tracy Priest. Tracy, how are you today?
Doing great this morning. Great to be with you today, Bruce, on another just fantastic episode of The Road to Retail.
Well, what's interesting, I'm sorry, Trace, I want to ask you who's joining us today, but I also want to let people know that our guest, he'll tell us about it. He and his brand and his team just recently won an award at an ECRM show. So Tracy, tell folks who's joining us today.
Yes, absolutely. So joining us today, live from Dallas-Fort Worth area is Dror, Sharon. And he is the co-founder and CEO of Belle's Gourmet Popcorn. So Dror, welcome to the show. And we're just excited to have you. So before we jump in, why don't you tell our audience just a little bit about your background and how you came to find this and discover this and create this great brand, Belle's Gourmet Popcorn.
Sure. Hi, everyone. Excited to be here. So thank you for having me. And that go back a while. So I'm coming from a culinary background back in my days. And from a retail CPG, I have about 18 to 20 years of experience in my background. And through my previous company, we had the different opportunity with retailers. And one of the product that came to life was actually popcorn, as we would see those unique flavors and see and try to understand why they don't exist in grocery and mass retail. And me and Belle wanted to create something that can be good and exciting as unique flavors that can really get the world to explore and enjoy it. Belle is coming from a science background, which is my co-founder and my partner to life, and we launched this brand. So this is kind of like in a short story. We started in 2018, and this is our year 8 and going into 9 in business.
That's awesome. Love that. It's definitely a family business, isn't it?
Yes, so we are family owned. We are in Dallas, Texas. We grew a lot throughout the years, and a big part of our marketing and brand voice is welcome to the family, as our target audience is the mom with the kids that can enjoy the flavors with no dyes and no artificial flavors, something that everybody can enjoy and indulge.
So Dror, you touched on it very briefly, but how did you and your team decide on popcorn?
So we had love for popcorn. As I said, I coming from a culinary background, and we looked for something that we can really bring our expertise in the kitchen to something that everybody love and enjoy. And popcorn is one of those snacks that everybody like. And we started really small. We really started in we had our first employee and at a 1,500 square feet, and then we grew up organically, and that went through time, but went through 3 facilities in an 8 years period. And
Wow.
today we're at about 25,000 square feet in Dallas. So we grew a lot throughout the years.
And you are also self-manufactured, correct?
Right, which is one of the good things and the bad things. It's fun, and some days it can be hectic, but we make our everything on our own, and a big part of our growth is actually private label, which helped us grow a lot throughout the years, especially during COVID time.
Awesome, awesome. So, talk to our audience about differentiation and how Bell's is different from the competition. You mentioned dyes, no dyes, no artificial flavor. So maybe expound on that a little bit and talk to us about how important and what the differentiation really is.
Sure. So I think one of the first thing that was really challenging in the beginning, we were doing what everybody else is doing. So we were doing the caramel, the cheddar, the butter, and all the flavors that you can find really everywhere. With some unique flavors, but not as exciting and not as, I would say, special for the retailers to say, "Hey, we want to bet on this. We want to bring this into our store." In 2023, sorry, 2025, I'm going back. So our firstborn was born in 2022, and our kids first they had the popcorn in 2025 when my older one became a 3-year-old, and we saw what the popcorn is doing with him with the dyes and the artificial flavor which we had in the previous product. And we end up rebrand and come up with what you see behind me in 2025, and we launch it at one of the biggest expos in the industry. It's called Sweet and Snack Expo. And of the day of the launch, we end up winning Best in Show and Best Salty Snack of the Year, which was 2 major significant point to our brand. And what we've done, we really took all the dyes out on all the artificial flavors and come out with flavors that as unique to our brand only, and no one else were doing that. So the product that ended up winning was matcha latte popcorn, which is very very different. And the other one was Dubai chocolate. So back in the days, a year and a half ago, 2 years ago almost, we were the first one to take Dubai chocolate outside of the bar and really make it into a snack, and came up with a really good formulation that end up winning the best salty snack of the year. So the difference is really to have something that you don't try on a regular basis, right? So you don't necessarily know the flavor. And the interesting part that some of our top movers is not the flavors you would imagine. Our lemon meringue is one of our best seller. And that's not a flavor
No,
you would imagine on popcorn.
I have never tried a lemon meringue popcorn flavor, but I'm looking forward to trying it.
Well, we've come a long way from salt, butter, butter with salt, and
Yeah.
white cheddar. I mean, you guys are doing it. So Dror, as you well know, and some of the audience does, but for those who don't, getting into retail is really expensive. So tell the folks listening about the costs of retail distribution and maybe what surprised you the most. Like, man, that was way more expensive than I thought, or I didn't know I had to wait 90 days to get paid.
So I would say this is actually did not start very early on, right? So throughout the years, we were working with distributors more on the private label side, which your fees are not as high. And when we rebranded and launched the brand in 2025, the first question buyers had is, where can we find your product? And the answer was nowhere because we just launched today. Um, and when you had conversation with distributors, they always tell you the story about what comes first, the chicken or the egg. And
Yeah.
we want the retailer to come and request your product in order for us to launch it. I think the fact that we won some awards makes some of the best distributor or bigger distributor gamble on us and say, hey, we want to have your product, which gave us distribution. And when we got into some of those retailers, we started to see deductions and free fill requests and discounts and things we were not really
Yep.
as familiar on the private label side. And then we kind of like understand that that's really cost of doing business, and this is stuff that we need to budget in into our cost of goods and moving forward have it in every major launch. I can't say it's true to every retailer. Some retailers have it, some don't. But you got to think very carefully prior to launching a brand how you're doing it. And this is stuff we learned in the hard way, unfortunately. But yes.
Yeah, that's good. So, well, at least you didn't have the attitude of I don't need to, I'm not going to pay slotting. So that's good. So
Well,
listen to that
one
audience.
one one might also say, Dror, your line there about the chicken and the egg. I think what comes first is the entire farm, meaning a lot of cash. Otherwise, you can't afford chickens or eggs. You got to get in the game. So you guys, I tip of the hat to you guys for figuring that out.
Yeah,
A
for
big part
sure.
of it is our private label, I would say. That's really helped us fund the business.
Yeah,
That's the bread and butter for us that's been for many years. And we've been doing great product on the private label side that really have amazing rating online on any private label we do. And that gives us the opportunity to say, hey, it's time for us to shine. It's time for us to bring our uniqueness to our brand and to our voice to the consumer.
Well,
yeah.
we're gonna get to private label in a moment, but Tracy, take us away.
Yeah. So, how did you decide which retailer to go into first? When you and I talked and did our pre-call, you talked to us a little bit of, about Walmart. So tell us where you went first and why you decided to go there.
So it's actually, I would say a big, we work with other retailers than Walmart. I would say the major national one would be Walmart. Um, and after Sweet and Snack in 2025, we went to ECRM in Dallas, which we always heard good things and good and bad about ECRM sessions and what can be good from it from our standpoint. So we end up going to it a month and a half after the show that happened in May of 2025. And one of our meetings with the Walmart buyer, and she's a mom with kids, and she love our brand. And what a part of our brand is really those characteristic that have a special character for every flavor. And she saw it as something that would be different to launch in their shelf. And yes, we did have hesitations. Is this the right direction to go or not? But at the same time, a lot of other retailers ask for data, ask for Circana data and different things like that to try to understand what we do on shelf, which is something that you can't really have unless you actually have a major launch.
Right.
So we end up going that direction, and that was one of our biggest, one of our best wins that seems to expand and doing really good relationship. So we're really happy with that and keep growing. Right now, you can find us in any state, which is extremely exciting, So no matter
That's
where you
great.
are, you can find us.
I love that. So on that also, You've had a lot of momentum lately. You just came from another ECRM show. You just came from another Sweets and Snacks back in May. So maybe share with us a little bit of the momentum that you have without naming any names, but how do you look at that momentum? Like how do it's a lot. So
So we actually launched a new line 3 months ago. It's a functional line. So we're the first snack company to launch a salty snack functional line outside of the protein craze that's been in the last 2 years. More to get people are especially GLP-1 think and know what they're consuming and being more picky about what they're consuming. So we launched in May a new functional line. One of them was Beauty and Glow. One of them is vitamins. One of them is Energy and Focus. And the one that ended up winning this last sweet and snack was our Beauty and Glow raspberry rose collagen popcorn, and it had a lot of demand. So I would, without dropping name, I would say almost any retailer that you can think had an interest on launching this product, and want to be the first, want to have exclusivity. Everybody want exclusivity.
oh yeah.
And we have an amazing 2027 coming, and we're trying to make it the right decision. We can't do everything at once. We got to be very picky on where we launch and how we launch it. And 2 months later, which was last July, actually a month ago, at ECRM, we nominate our immunity and wellness product, which is the very berry one, with vitamin C and vitamin E and different vitamins in that popcorn. And then that be the ECRM winner that from the last session. So also from there, we have a major follow-up and great conversion that we're about to explore in 2027.
That's great. Congratulations. And you have some phenomenal innovation. We'll get
Thank
to
you.
that a little bit.
So Dror, you've mentioned a couple of times that your guys kind of getting started in the private label area. What are some of the pros and cons of being both a private label manufacturer and a branded? I mean, there might be a risk that if a retailer really loves one of your innovations, they'll say, "Hey, Dror, how about making my store brand knockoff of your new innovation?" So how do you manage both camps?
So one thing I always tell the retailers is that award-winning product will not mimic to any other one. So we keep it for ourselves. So if we have a trophy or something that is ours to keep, we end up not doing it for anyone else but ourselves, and that's really what makes us different. On the private label side, I would say the approach was always, hey, they requesting people to do it. Someone else gonna do it. Might as well be me. Might as well be us, because if we're not gonna do that thing, another company would do it. And I would say that the pros on private label is really stability. It's all year round. It's cash flow. Normally they pay really good, and they're not going away. So when you launch a private label product, it's, if the product is good, it's there to stay. So you can have many years of success to it. And normally when a retailer doing some business with you, when they want something new, they're not going out to the world, they're coming to their current suppliers and say, hey, can you make this? And that gives us a lot of organic growth without market ourselves. People see what we do on the private label sector, and they're coming in and knocking on our door more than we actually going and look for that. The cons, I would say, it's hectic. And normally you commit to those things a lot of time in advance. So whenever, right now we're working on project for 2027 and 2028, and you give the retailer costs today on what you're going to sell them in 2027 and 2028, and everything going on in the world, from gas prices to cost of goods, ingredients, labor, that impacts. And it's really hard to guesstimate where I'm going to be in a year from now. So I can tell you that, like, right now, we do in our factory a lot of our holiday private label. And on some of them, our margins are very tight because it's prices that we committed a year ago. And we can go back to the retailer and says, hey, we need to get more of this because of everything going on. But it's a long-term relationship. So we're not looking at the dime today. We're looking more of the opportunity that will come up in the next 5 years, not the next 3 months.
Yeah, it's got to really be good.
It's really tough to give pricing a couple of years out and then stand on it without needing some maneuverability. So that is really tough. And then also, I know that's really smart that you guys don't offer your award-winning products, which is also very logical. And then that also helps you maintain your pricing gap, your private label offerings to your branded, which is helpful as well. Tracy, functional foods.
Yes,
Or
absolutely.
no, no,
So
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
no,
Wrap
no, rapid
expansion.
expansion. So you have a lot of rapid expansion coming. Sounds like it's already a busy 2026 and now a really busy 2027. So talk to our audience a little bit on how you stay, on top of that and how you manage that. Is it more about the manufacturing and the logistics? Is it about outrunning your funding or trade spend commitments? What keeps you up at night, Dror, when you lay there at night going, oh my gosh, I have all these retailers, I have a new functional line coming on board, I'm managing my private label. What's the key element you really need to manage?
I think first and foremost is to have a great team that stands
Yeah,
behind you and support you. For many years, I was on the sales side, and I'm not doing as much anymore because we have a team that handle this. Yes, I am in the conversation with major retailers, but I'm not doing the day-to-day on that. Same goes to behind the scenes, whether it's internally or externally, inside a building, from HR to production to everything, to have the right team. Externally is really important to have the right suppliers and the right people that can sustain the growth. Whether it's ingredient supplier, boxes supplier, packaging supplier, to make sure they deliver on time, they deliver what you need for that growth. And I would say it's important to pick and choose where you put the product, because some brands have done decisions to get purchase orders to put the product in certain places, and they end up long-term decision as a bad decision that it impact not the audience that would want to have their product on the shelf. So not every retailer is the right retailer, and not every shelf is the right for you. You got to pick and choose. And I think that's where the private label plays really well, because we can play in different shelves. We don't want to play on the branded side, on the private label side, and have it in both folds.
yeah,
Well,
that's great.
well, what
That's
you
great advice.
what you just said there, Dror, when Tracy and I have interviewed retail buyers, many of them have said what you just said. They said you really got to consider the demographic and profile of your brand shopper with the shoppers who are in our stores or on our websites, because not every brand belongs everywhere.
Yeah, absolutely. So we talked a little bit about the launch of the functional foods, and I'm just curious, what data or trend did you see that said, "Oh, this is the innovation we want to go after next"?
It's funny because you become an innovator when you win awards, but we've really been an innovator from all of our life. It's a
Love it.
it's a 30-year overnight success. That's how you
Yes,
can
there
call
you
it.
go.
But I would say that we've done dill pickle popcorn in 2018. Um, Dill pickle is all over in the last couple of years, right?
Yeah,
We've done protein popcorn in 2020, 2021. And up until protein became really big, it wasn't really a thing. And obviously celeb have to do to push of that
yeah,
growth. So, and yes, we did not win any awards of dill or protein, but we've done it 6 years ago, 7 years ago. And I would say we were not the first one to touch matcha latte. We were not the first one to touch matcha, but I think the flavor profile, it's people talked a lot when we won the awards about the texture and about how we're changing the industry. And I think a big part of it, me and Belle both not coming from snack industry, and our procedures and our recipes are not what every other popcorn company or snack company are doing. They're very different. Our equipment is different, and the product is different. And I think the consumer can tell. And when you have a different product in the texture, in the packaging, and all of that, that gets you to innovation. Now, when we won in 2025, people said, hey, you got really lucky with Dubai chocolate. And the whole Maha movement really helped your story and a lot of things like that. And we brainstorm a lot and think, what can we bring into this category that is unique and exciting? And we looked at the beverage category and we saw what Olipop, what Poppy, what Bloom did. And we see ourselves where those brands in beverage been in 2018, 2019. And we think that like in 2-3 years from now, the snack aisle would be functional snack aisle in those stores that is not necessarily what you see today. And a big part of our launch was really how can we get to doors that are not there yet. So whether on the Beauty and Glow, we say, hey, how can we get to places like Sephora and Ulta and stuff like that, and really put ourselves in shelves that we don't really have competition as much as your main retailer that you have today. And that really brought to the innovation. I would say from 2025, we've been working a year extensively of what we're going to launch next year. We already know what we're going to do in 2027 and 2028. We don't see ourselves as a popcorn company. That's why you can see the logo over there is Belle's and not Belle's Gourmet Popcorn. We're going to launch different products that it's not just popcorn, but we got to have the shelf space in order for us to expand to other things as well.
So I just want to point out one thing that I just hear a lot from you. Innovation is really woven into the fabric of your brand. And
It's a big part of it.
Yeah, you've been thinking about things way before everybody else. So kudos to you. And that's why you're winning these awards, is because you're ahead of the curve on everybody else.
Thank
Well,
you. I would say it's not me, it's the entire team. Obviously, there is Belle is a huge part of this. She's a better presenter than I am, I would say. But she's that's a different day, different story.
Yeah.
Well,
Okay, great.
the other thing that's interesting to build off Tracy's point, Dror, is you guys aren't afraid to take some swings, because
Yeah.
if you were like many companies, highly risk averse, I mean, that would be like a super short meeting. Hey, how about pickle flavored popcorn? No. And you guys took a shot and made it work, and now you did protein and these functional popcorn. So very, very interesting. So let's talk about your experience with our good friends at ECRM. So you've attended a couple of shows. Tell the audience and those other brand founders or people leading small emerging challenger brands, what are the benefits of attending an ECRM show?
So it's interesting because we had many years from a personal side as a family. We had many years of hey, we don't want to go on a cruise, and we end up going to a couple cruises. And I would say the reason why I'm saying cruise is because our experience was amazing as a family with kids on a cruise. And for ECRM been around for many, many, many years, probably since you guys been around, and even more than that. I don't know if it's been over 30 years or so. But to the crowd that doesn't know, ECRM is a one-on-one meeting with buyers. And unlike a regular trade show, when you have staff your booth and you get to meet people and you try to catch and talk to people for a minute or two, or sometimes 5 minutes, sometimes you're missing them. On ECRM, you have scheduled appointments that you know ahead of the meetings. So a month before, 2 months before, they give you the schedule that who you're going to meet and when and what time. So you have time to prepare yourself to the retailer or to the buyer that you're meeting, do your homework, read about them, understand what they looking for as a company and what product they're looking for, and really to focus yourself on those meetings to see how you can convert them. So as I said, we got lucky. I said early in the conversation, we met two ECRM, one in Dallas, one in San Diego. In both of those occasions, we had awards standing behind us, so we had some buzz prior to it, so it make our life a lot easier for conversion. So it's hard for me to talk without because I never experienced it like that. But from that, I would say it's probably one of our better tools if you compare it to a trade show from a conversion standpoint to what become to an actual sales. And I would say Walmart came out of that. Walmart came out of ECRM meeting for us.
That's
That's
great.
awesome.
And I can say from a personal experience leading sales and marketing teams that I always found the ECRM shows beneficial, not only for the reason that you outlined, but just for the efficiency. You know, you go to one place and you're going to have a lot of meetings, and sometimes you'll get something nailed there, but a lot of times it sets the table for a more thorough, deeper meeting as long as you've piqued the interest of the buyers you're meeting with. So that's very interesting and a very timely story because you guys just won and you're adding to your trophy case. So you guys might have to get a contractor to add a wing onto your trophy case.
You know,
I love it.
knock on wood, I'll say to people we pay for them, but no. Another thing I would say about ECRM, it's think about speed dating. Speed dating would be a really good way to say it. And sometimes you meet a buyer for 10 minutes and you had a really good date. And then you meet him on that night at a dinner or a happy hour, and then you can continue the conversation. And the next thing you know is coming to talk to you on your break the next day for another 30 minutes because he had some open time, and it's a lot easier to stand out versus different outlets, I would say.
Yeah,
Exactly.
that's great. So talk to our audience a little bit about the marketing vehicles that you use to build trial and awareness of the Belle's brand.
So multiple ways. I think in person and digital. So I would say social media became really big. You know, TikTok is exploding all over. And from a PR boxes to influencers that get the product and promote it in different ways. And I would say to in person to go to campuses in Texas, going to roadshows with Costco, into face-to-face marketing with the consumer, hear their feedback about their product, see what they have to say, and not just from a buyer standpoint, really from a consumer standpoint, meet the customer.
Yeah.
I would say those been the most beneficial for us.
So meet the customer where they are. Go out to
Meet the
them.
customer, and social media is a part of our everyday. We have to do it.
Yeah.
And I would say when you meet a great influencer or some video that went viral, you can see the spike. You can see the spike on our TikTok shop.
Mhm.
You can see the spike on our website. You can sometimes even see the spike in the demographic or in the area, in brick and mortars because they drive traffic to stores.
Right.
And a lot of the people, a lot of the retailers don't really understand the Gen Z world, and I think Aldi did a really good job understanding it.
Mhm.
If I can, mention dropping names about it, but yes.
Awesome. Good. Bruce?
Yeah. So, Dror, you guys are the, as you joked, 30-year overnight success or whatever you might have said. But again, you guys are having a lot of success and getting recognition from your industry peers and buyers. If a person came up to you during your break when you weren't talking to a retailer and said, Dror, I'm going to start a CPG brand, what are the first couple of pieces of advice you might tell this person?
Know your competition. Know your competition really well. I probably know almost every popcorn brand out there and every snack company. Um, and more than that, know the retailer that you want to launch and be aware that there are more like you. So maybe your employees, maybe your colleagues not facing what you're facing on the day to day, but there is a lot of groups that can help you support. Unfortunately, I did not get to get those groups because of COVID really impact the way we've done. So I had 5 years that I did not get any support in any way, and we had to learn the hard way. But today, we see a lot of folks that we help them a lot, and we give them advice of what we've done in different scenarios and what could you do? Because people have been through it. You mentioned you've been many years in retail. Whatever you experience, someone already experienced, and you can learn out of it.
Yeah.
You only know what you know, and try to listen. That is the best advice I can give.
That's
Well,
great.
that's great. One of the examples Tracy and I give, because what you say is it's kind of like you go into the doctor and you have a broken arm, and you tell the doctor, "Man, I got the worst broken arm ever." And they put up the X-ray and they go, "Actually, Bruce, it's a hairline fracture, but it feels like the worst broken arm ever because it's yours." So to your point, if you work with people that have seen these challenges and opportunities before, it'll save you a lot of time and heartache, and it'll accelerate your own learning curve. So that is super sound counsel. Tracy?
Yeah. So, drawers, we're rounding third and heading home. Tell our audience who's had the greatest influence on your career and why.
I think this is probably going to be more personal. So I can't name one. I would name two.
Okay.
One would be my wife, Belle. I think since we met, she's balancing me out. So we balancing each other, and I think that we think very different. We are very different people, and that's what makes us successful because we're bringing different colors to our family, to our business, and we get to support each other through good and bad, and it's not always easy, and especially when you have young kids at home. The second person, I would say my dad, is no longer with us. He actually passed away the day that COVID hit. That was March 17, 2020. If you remember, everything shut down.
Yeah.
I could not go back to his funeral. And I would see his persistence on everything he does and how much he's being, I can call it stubborn, and try the hard way and always being very devoted to what he's doing. And I think that's the main thing I took from him. He was a regular employee, 9 to 5 in a customer service, nothing more. It wasn't an entrepreneur or anything like that, but I think I took that from him. And those are the two main people that really
Yeah.
made a major impact on me and still do. And there's more people to it, obviously, but
Sure.
if I can, mention two, I would drop them.
Well,
Awesome.
those are two good ones, and persistence is a trait you just have to have. I'm always searching for the fine line between when Bruce is being persistent and stubborn, and after all these years, I still haven't found that line.
Hey,
So
when you do, let me know.
it would be great. All right, Dror, this is a very important topic we're going to cover right now. So, who is your favorite sports team, band, or brand, and why do you support them? Can't say Bells. So, we're eliminating
Can't say
that from the
Bells.
brand
Can't say
pool.
Bells. So I'm a big soccer fan. Um, and I would say I have major sports team that I support, but the main one would be Liverpool. They're in England.
Yeah.
And I think the reason why I started to be a fan of them is like my big brother is actually a Man United fan. And to people that know, Man United and Liverpool are like rivals. So I was the youngest one in the family, and when he was a Man United fan, back in Alex Ferguson days, which is back in the early 90s, I started to be a fan of Liverpool out of nowhere, just to annoy him, to be honest.
I love it.
And one of the greatest thing about Liverpool is whether they're good or bad, they always support, and their slogan is "You never walk alone." And I think this is a big key in life. There is always someone there to support you. You're not by yourself, and sometimes it feels that you're by yourself, but there is always someone there that will take you up even in the toughest moments in life. Regarding our brand, I would say if you don't know a lot about our brand, on our website we have a popcorn personality quiz which will tell you who is your popcorn personality.
Ah,
I am
love
I
that.
am Cooper Crumbleton, and I can do that in my background, so you can see it right here next to me. And each one is a different popcorn personality, and that's a big part of our brand voice. And
I love that.
unrelated to that. You got to throw it in, Bruce.
Yeah,
You have to.
Bruce and I are going to have to take that personality test. I'm
Dror,
afraid.
Dror, I usually flunk personality tests, and it comes out something like most likely to go off the rails or
I
something.
would
But
guess you're probably the pickle
yeah,
one would be my
yeah,
guess.
could be. So, Dror, thank you so much for your time today. But before we go, how can people either reach out to you or learn more about Belle's? What are the best ways to track you down and learn more about the business you and your team are building?
LinkedIn is always the easiest way. We always available, whether it's on the branded side, on the personal side, website, and whoever is in the industry, love to send an email and jump on a call. Feel free to share my email, you know, at if you want to as well. Not a problem.
Well, only
That's
you
great.
can share your email. Tracy and I don't share our guests' emails. We've had a few guests share their mobile phone numbers. I think they are clinically insane, so I don't know
Yeah,
where
I would not gonna do that. That's
I
gonna
don't know
I'm gonna
where
get
they'd
No.
spam
come out
calls all
on
day
the
long.
don't know where they'd come out on the popcorn quiz. But Dror, this has been absolutely fantastic. Okay, Tracy, take us into the big finish.
Absolutely, Dror, you were amazing. Great brand story, great advice for our small emerging brand audience. So, audience, thanks for joining us, Dror. Thank you for joining us today. And audience, continue to subscribe to our Apple and our Spotify channels, also our YouTube. You can find all of our episodes on our website at www.road2retail.com. And also, we post every Tuesday on LinkedIn, so you can follow us there as well. So thank you again, Dror. You were awesome, and thank you, audience, for joining us.
Thank you, guys.
Good luck out there, folks.